Good evening. We're at 5 o'clock and we're all assembled, I think. My name is Julia Burgess. I'm the Vice Chair of the Policy and Bylaw Committee, and I'm here in Chair Connie Buckler's stead, who has given her regrets this evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order and give the acknowledgement of traditional lands and waters. We acknowledge that we are on land and surrounded by water originally inhabited by Indigenous peoples who have traveled this area since time immemorial. This territory is within the lands honored by the Wampum Treaties, agreements between the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lenni Lenape, and allied nations to peacefully share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Specifically, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the Huron-Wendat peoples and the Three Fires Confederacy, Ojibwe, Odawa, Potawatomi. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture while remaining committed to moving forward respectfully with all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. You can see that our attendance this evening is Committee Member Trustee Cook and Chair Hatfield. At the approval of the agenda, I would like to amend the agenda by striking 1.1 and referring that back to administration for some additional work that has been flagged prior to the agenda review or approval. So please renumerate your 1.2 to 1.1 and 1.3 to 1.2. And with that amendment, I'll ask for the approval of that amended agenda. It's moved by Trustee Cook and supported by Trustee Hatfield. Any other additional amendments, changes, anything? All good to go for the vote? Thank you. Seeing no objections, we'll move that as amended. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest for this meeting? I'm not hearing any, so we'll go to the approval of the minutes. The minutes are before you, pages 1 to 5, for the meeting of November 4th. Moved by Trustee Hatfield, supported by Trustee Cook. Are there any amendments, changes, anything to be said about the minutes of November 4th? All good. Are there any objections to adopting that? No, hearing no objections, then we will pass those minutes as in our package as approved. Thanks very much. We have a delegation that was, at the approval of the agenda, we did have a delegation that met all the criteria for coming forward, G1. We approved that already. And at this time, I would ask, please, for Selena Hamilton to come forward and speak on the policy and regulation flag protocol. And as you can see, good evening. As you can see, the timer is up there. And thank you for giving us your text prior to. I appreciate that very much. Cheers. My part.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the Policy and Bylaw Committee. Tonight, I would like to speak to the role of the GECDSB Board of Trustees in the future of the flag protocol policy. At present, two documents govern this matter, Policy PAD 34 and Regulation RAD 34. As this committee and the board move toward a new consolidated policy template, one that distinguishes governance from operations, it is important to clarify the responsibilities attached to each. By definition, governance establishes the board's vision, policies, and priorities. Operations carry out those decisions in daily practice. These roles are distinct and cannot be interchanged. Policy PAD 34 currently states, it is the policy of the Greater Essex County District School Board to display the National Flag of Canada at all schools on an external flagpole and to display the National Flag of Canada and the Provincial Flag of Ontario inside schools with dignity and respect as per Ontario Regulation 262 of the Education Act. Additional flags may be displayed with administrative approval. Regulation RAD 34 further states, at the discretion of the principal, a school may also display on the flagpole or inside the school the flag of the local municipality or other special purpose flag. The flag should be provided by the requester and align with the board's values, support the principles and expectations of the board's safe school policy, equity and Indigenous education protocol, and is consistent with the Ontario Human Rights Code and is not directly connected with any political or religious group or cause. These two documents refer to administration and the school principal, but their authority exists only within the governance framework established by this board. With the introduction of the new policy, PGV11, Framework for Foundational Documents, there may be a temptation to reclassify this matter as an operational procedure. However, Essex County requires strong, clear governance on this issue now more than ever. As the board reviews this policy, I believe it's time to reaffirm neutrality across Windsor-Essex. The national flag represents all Canadians, and this board operates under the provincial authority of the Ministry of Education. Upholding neutrality aligns with the Ontario Human Rights Code, which guarantees equal treatment for all individuals, including those of various creeds. The Turner Consulting Group Student Census Report of September 2023 shows that 55% of students identify with a theistic tradition. For many families, religious belief shapes their understanding of identity and human purpose. When students enter a school environment, they should not feel that they are being asked to symbolically align with any particular social or ideological position. Ensuring that all students feel equally welcomed and respected is part of the board's responsibility under the Charter's protections for freedom of conscience, belief, and expression. Regulation RAD 34 specifies that special purpose flags must not be directly connected with political or religious groups or causes. My concern is that the pride flag has, over time, become associated with political advocacy and public policy campaigns, which raises questions about whether it still fits within the neutrality required by this regulation. In recent years, LGBTQ-related issues have become prominent in legislative debates, public policy development, and government funding initiatives. Canada's Federal Action Plan has committed funding of $100 million over 5 years starting in 2022. This level of governmental involvement demonstrates that the movement now operates within a political sphere, influencing policy, funding priorities, and public institutions. Because of this political dimension, displaying the pride flag on school property may be perceived as situating the board on one side of an advocacy issue. For families who hold differing beliefs, whether cultural, philosophical, or religious, this can create the impression that the school environment is no longer equitable or unbiased. A public school system must make sure every student and family feels respected and that the learning environment does not appear to promote beliefs that clash with anyone's deeply held convictions. My request is not about denying anyone's dignity or rights. For example, Switzerland is widely regarded as the world's paragon of neutrality. Its doctrine of non-alignment not only stands as a counterforce to hatred and war, but also positions the nation as a steadfast champion of peace. A neutral flag protocol limited to the national and provincial flags would avoid placing the board in a position of appearing to endorse any particular social or political movement and would help maintain an inclusive environment for all members of the school community. As the board evaluates the future of this policy, it is important to consider how neutrality can best be upheld, how governance can remain consistent, and how the board can ensure that no group, religious or otherwise, feels marginalized or singled out within the public school system. If the board is committed to fostering a welcoming environment and strengthening enrollment, then adopting a neutral and consistent flag protocol may reduce recurring tensions and allow schools to focus on their core mission, education. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Are there any questions for clarification of the presenter? I think we all got a copy of the text. Are there any questions? Okay, well, thank you very much. If I could move a motion to adopt something to amend something previously adopted. I forgot to say that today we did have a presentation that wanted to go forward but was unable to attend, and they sent their full information forward, and I would like that just attached to the minutes as a somebody wanted to come forward and make a presentation. They wanted to share a message and be a delegate. Yeah, we could attach it as correspondence. I think that's what I'm asking to, if I could seek support to amend something previously adopted, this agenda, just to attach this as a correspondence that we attach to a particular issue that was an approved delegation. We approved a delegation. We received a message because it was attached to the agenda, and this was coming from a public education supporter, and did it go to all trustees? Right. It went to all trustees, and it was a matter of correspondence, and they were just unable to physically attend as a presenter, and they were attending. It's a message, and all trustees received it prior to the start of the meeting. So I would just like to. I didn't see anything in there saying that they want to be a delegate. I read it, but it came in very late. You need the mic. Unable to attend, which to disclose, and it's a matter of correspondence. If you're not willing to amend the addition, I would just bring it up at the approval of the minutes, just so that it gets in when we next convene. It can be attached as correspondence. It was sent to all trustees to the board, so I would just like it noted. So
I'm really confused.
Okay.
So to be a delegation, you have to meet the guidelines and the deadlines. So that didn't happen here. So what does it have to do with this agenda?
Because the agenda, it included an addendum that was a delegation of correspondence came in. They were unable to attend as a delegation and meet that.
An approved delegation before the
correct,
deadline
but it's
anyway. So
right. It's not a delegation because they're not here, and it wasn't attendance. But it's correspondence considering something that is and was on our agenda, which is the delegation.
That's not how it works. Or if I'm missing the point, maybe.
Okay, nobody's supporting it, so it's okay. And it's unusual for a chair to put something forward, and I understand that. So I'm just not going to. I'm going to withdraw any discussion right now, and I understand what you're saying. It doesn't work that way, but at the next policy meeting, I will bring it forward as just for an inclusion that something came in before the meeting about something that was on our approved agenda, which is a delegation, and speaking specifically to that. Okay, and all trustees received it. So I'll just withdraw that. I'll move down now to the next thing on our agenda, which is. There are no staff reports. The new business 1.1 has been struck. So we're on the policy for program and accommodation, which is in pages 9 to 53. That's 1.1. And the recommendation before us, I'm going to ask for support for that. The recommendation is that the Policy and Bylaw Committee recommend to the board that policy, program, and accommodation be approved. And that is moved by Trustee Hatfield and supported by Trustee Cook. And is there anything you want to discuss on the matter between pages 9 and 53? There's a lot in there. Trustee Hatfield.
As the mover of the motion, I'm going to recommend that we just approve it. I don't know that there's much point in putting time into any discussion because there's a moratorium on school closures, so there's nothing we can do about anything. And until the government changes their position, I think that would be a more appropriate time. Like, this is just a coming before us because it's time, but we don't really know what the implications are going to be from the ministry. So I'm happy with the way that it's been presented. I like that definitions have been moved to the front. I think that was a good revision. As for the content of the rest of the policy, I think it is what it is for now until we know where we stand on that with this government. And that could be years, months, and at that time, we might want to revisit this. So, like I said, I'm happy with that one major revision, and I'm prepared to vote on it.
Any other commentary? Okay, so I also would like to say thank you for combining what was, procedural and in regulation into the policy. I appreciate that a lot. I see that the cyclical review is every 5 years. It's anybody's guess what'll be here in 5 years, and I take your point, Trustee Hatfield. So I think that I just want to thank admin for doing that. Thank you for putting that together, and it's a lot of change shifting from one to the other, and updating all the policy. And like everything else that's in flux, we wait. So we're ready for the vote. All those in favor of approving the policy, program, and accommodation as written? And that is passed. Thanks for the vote. Cheers. Thank you. So we're at 1.2, pages 54 to 57 in our package, and the recommendation before us is that the Policy and Bylaw Committee recommend to the board that policy and regulation charitable donations be rescinded and that it be reclassified as an operational procedure and posted on the board website. And you have that in front of us, and moved by Trustee Cook and supported by Trustee Hatfield. Are there any questions now that it's on the floor? Any questions, any debate, recommendations? Yes, ma'am. Trustee
Just a
Hatfield.
comment that this is now moving forward from the action of the Board of Trustees with regard to laying out our foundational documents. So I think both the program and accommodation, previous one that we just did, shows how what it's going to look like when there are policies that involve trustees in them, and then moving to what it's going to look like when it's something that's just operational. So these are two good examples of the of moving forward with that action that was approved by the board.
Any other questions? So my question is just the logistics of it. It's being rescinded as a policy, and it's going to go on the website as an operational procedure. So what happens to the policy statement? Does that just disappear? Is that what's actually being rescinded? And it just appears as the unchanged charitable donations as a no? Okay.
Through you, Madam
My
Chair.
question is the logistics of what's going to show up on the website.
So moving forward, there's no longer policy and a reg in anything.
Okay.
They're combined under policy or the operational procedure or ministry directive or any one of the 4 categories. And then there's a new template for each one of those. So this will be taken and that information will be put into that new template before it's posted on the board website. But it won't say policy, it will be operational procedure. And all of the information will be combined within there that fits under the new format.
You've answered perfectly. So it'll be a new thing, operational procedure. That's what the public and anybody else will look for. It won't be policy, it won't be reg, it won't be any company, and it'll only be whatever is in there that's still applicable in order to meet the foundational document guidelines and that. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. So, did we vote? We didn't vote. All those in favor of rescinding and making sure that that becomes an operational procedure and posted on the board website? And that is carried. Thanks very much. At this point, there are no trustee motions for consideration. There may be for the next policy and bylaw standing committee. We'll see. There are no trustee notice of motions, and there aren't any announcements at this point, so our business is concluded, and therefore we are adjourned. Thanks very much.